Once more, my friends, I'm going to do a quick review of two skills you should have learned in PAMC, which are creating a border using offset path and using the envelope distort functions. So say I want to make a nice rectangular border for my quote. I'm going to create a rectangle that is just a stroke, no fill, because I don't want it to block anything out. I'm going to increase the stroke just a little bit, just so you can see it a little bit better. And my stroke palette is hiding somewhere on the other desktop, because of course it is. Because we can't make these things easy. That's not the window I wanted. The struggle is real, my friends. Here's the window I want. And I'm just going to bump that up to like 4, just so you can see it a little bit better. There you go. And using the offset path function is actually really easy. Once you have your path or your shape selected, you can do this with paths too, but I like to do it with shapes. You're going to go down to Object, Path, Offset Path. And the only thing you really have to remember is if you want it outside your object, you're going to have a positive value. If you want it inside your object, you're going to have a negative. What happens when I put this negative sign in front of my numerical?
This on the web.
No, Siri, I didn't need Baywatch. There you go. And that's actually inside my square. If I go back, that's not a square, that's a rectangle. If I go back and select that same object, path, offset path, this time I'm going outside. And now I've got a pretty snazzy looking thing here. And I can do that with other shapes too, of course. I can do it with my ellipse tool. And really, it's up to you how you want to utilize this, but it can make some neat stuff. And then I could go in and use maybe my shape builder to get rid of parts of this. Okay, so that is how you use the offset path. Let's talk a little bit about envelope distort with text. Say I've got, we're going to use the wild at heart thing again. I don't know why. That's just how I'm feeling this morning. I'm feeling wild at heart, my friends. And you could do this with just about any font. I think I'm going to choose one that should be familiar to you guys from PAMC. And it's gonna be Sunrise International. Once again, my palette windows are totally on the wrong screen. So give me one moment while I pull those up. Thank you much. I'm gonna go ahead and change this to Sunrise International Demo. Wild at heart. If I want to do fun things to these letters, first thing I have to do is select them. I have to hit Command-Shift-O. What I just did with that, you might have noticed, each of those letters is now an object instead of a piece of type. I can treat them as an object. And what I can do is I can Command-Shift-G to ungroup them, because right now they were all grouped as one chunk. And I'm going to do this for each word. So Command-G to group, because we want wild to behave as one object. At Command-G heart. Now when I select this word, you want to place them around where you want them. I'm going to go up to Object, Envelope Distort, Make with Mesh. And what it does is, it's hard to see, but it creates a bunch of different rows and columns. You really only need one row for words like this. Depending on how long your word is, will change up how many columns you have. Typically between 4 and 6 is enough for most words, unless they're really long. And what I'm going to do now, I'm going to come in with my direct selection tool. I'm going to double click on one of those anchor points. And now I'm going to stretch those letters. So that can get you some neat effects there. That is how you use Make with Mesh. Now let's do something else with Envelope Distort. We're going to do something Make with Top. So I'm going to create a rectangle. Nice rectangle. I'm going to add an anchor point right about here. I'm going to edit my rectangle so that it is interesting, I guess, in a way. And here's what I'm going to do next. I'm going to take my heart. I'm going to make it bigger, just to make it interesting. I'm going to place it underneath, and I want to make sure my top object covers my bottom object. You want to make sure you select them both. So hold the shift button, click on both. Or you can just select both. It should pop up. Yep, see how it's in there? But I've also accidentally selected my border, and we don't want that. There we go. So now I'm going to go to Object, Envelope, Distort, and make with top object, and watch what happens. Yeah, we got a snazzy shape. So I could take that even farther, make it a little more interesting, like I could make a star. Maybe I place it over top of wild. Let's see what happens when I do this, because I haven't tried this with two. Oh, that's unreadable, but you get the idea. So that is how you can use offset path and the two functions of envelope distort that we've talked about.